Hi, hey, and all those other greetings, Fate Adventurers. I'm Jenspins, welcoming you guys back to my gaming and unboxing channel, where today we need to solve a murder mystery. And the murder victim is people's wallets and the ability to try to find Sonic Jakks specific figures. I know I'm being super dramatic right now, but genuinely, if Jakks specific anybody working there is watching this video for one reason or another, please, I am begging you, put more stock for Sonic. I understand that Sonic is the mascot, but you don't need 3 Sonics in an entire case of figures and then one of every other characters, because it makes it so difficult to find those other characters. Like I said, I love Sonic, but I still want to find the side characters. People can't find them. For this video, I actually was lucky enough to find a listing on Mercari for 3 figures, being the Team Chaotix figures, for $50. Now that's not bad. However, those prices are going to constantly be going up and up as people are having a harder time finding them. And those are the newer waves of figures that have just come out like this year, which is absolutely ridiculous. The Cream figure right now, last I checked, it was like $25 to get her alone. And she's like a figure this big with an ice cream cone with her. It's absolutely absurd. So please, help us all out and put more stock of the other characters in there, because you can't even find Tails at stores. I've been to like 2-3 different stores, to Walmarts, to Targets, and it's all the exact same result, except for maybe being able to find like one character. There was once I was lucky enough to find one SBO on the shelf, literally one, in the herd of Sonics. It's crazy, man. But anyway, though, today's unboxing, like I said, is going to be going over the Chaotix, a team that was originally formed in Knuckles Chaotix, and maybe earlier in the comics, but I don't have a lot of comics information, so if I get anything wrong, feel free to let me know down in the comment section below. Overall, though, the team's original formation was inside Knuckles Chaotix, being with Vector, Espio, Charmy, Mighty, Heavy, and Bomb, along with Knuckles as well. And this is a pretty solid team. I haven't played the game. Other than Heavy and Bomb, they're just Eggman robots meant to slow you down and make it harder to play the stages, which is actually pretty amazing. And I would love for like Sega to bring them back as like a joke character, or for Jakks specific to make like a little double pack of them, just to be like, to poke fun. Probably nobody would buy them, but like, come on, I would totally, just for the humor of it, just for the collection, I would absolutely love that. But believe it or not, before the Chaotix formed, we did actually have appearances in other Sonic media, including games, potentially. And the first one I want to talk about is, dun-dun-dun, Vector the Crocodile. A character that you might know I have a lot of thoughts about, and most of them are frustration because for some reason Sega just really shoehorns this character into everything. I love him in the Chaotix, but it doesn't make sense for him to be in Team Rose or on a team with Blaze and Silver. It's just weird. There's no chemistry, and oftentimes it's just to kind of like mix things up, and it usually doesn't work in my opinion. Overall, though, Vector as a character seems to have first appeared inside the original Sonic game as one of the concepts, because Sonic was supposed to be in a band? Yeah, this was back when Sonic had a human girlfriend named Madonna. Yes, that Madonna. Because Sonic is absolutely wild in its early concepts. Vector, though, was in that concept singing along and partying, but I don't think he was ever used, and if he was, it was used in a sound test. If what I found was true, it sounds like another character, being Charmy, did appear in the comics along with Vector way before, like a few years before 1995 when Knuckles Chaotix came out. And of course, the team we're going to be looking at today is going to be the Sonic Heroes variant of the team. I don't want to go too in-depth with this team and the characters and the lore, because last time I did that, it was for the GE Flash video, and man, It took forever to do, and my throat was killing me by that point. And I've also been trying to warm up today to do these videos, and I got carried away with singing Demi Lovato. So, you know, I mean, Vector's got to be proud of me. Anyway, though, let's open this guy up. Okay, so this is from the wave with Classic Sonic, Ray the Flying Squirrel, and Amy, which we did do Amy from this wave, just in... Actually, no, because Amy was in the sick variant wave for some weird reason. But yeah, they reissued Amy, and then Ray came with the red Chaos Emerald. So overall, not too bad. And I feel like they didn't do all the Chaotix in this wave because they knew. They were like, if we do all of them here, it's going to be so hard for people to get them. It still is, but you know. Vector also comes with a 10 ring, which is the modern version of this. It looks pretty good, and I'm sure we've done, oh my goodness, looked at one of these 10 rings, or super rings I think they're called, in a previous video. But overall, it does look pretty nice. You've got the 10 gradient, and then you've got the shining ring, which I just unboxed some Mario figures, and I mentioned how I wish that the coin accessory was actually like gold shiny paint, and this is, so I absolutely love that. Alright, well, even though I am not the biggest fan of Vector, I will say I'm very happy about the fact that they actually did make a Vector figure for two reasons. One, because Vector is not a character that usually gets merchandise, and two, because the last Vector figure that was made, I believe, was Jazzwares, and man, that one was super rough. Maybe by the end of this, I'll go and grab all the Chaotix ones, because I think they put them in like a 3-pack. Just to show you guys how rough the quality is, and instantly I want to praise Jakks Pacific, because they figured out a way to make Vector's legs long enough to where he can not only stand, but it doesn't look super janky. And this figure looks amazing. It looks so good. Overall, like, proportions are really good. His hands aren't too long. They do still hit the ground, or in this case, my hand. But they don't end up, like, making the character top heavy, which is such a big issue with this character, because he is, like, a triangle going up all the way down. And I think one of the biggest things is that they actually used his tail to balance that weight out, which is so freaking good. And not only that, it looks like there might be a joint there, but it looks stiff, and because it's balancing, I don't want to move it. I'm a little bit too nervous too. So, looking at the character himself, like I said, he looks really good. He's got a, oh my god, he's got a jaw joint. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, that's amazing. He's got some very sharp teeth, so if I... No. Sorry. I don't know why I felt the need to do that. My ADHD is very high today, I guess. Looking at this, they didn't even make the tongue like a flat texture. They did model it and paint it in there, and they painted the inside, the top and bottom of his mouth red. So that looks really good. And then, of course, the joint feels very fluid. I think this is the first time I've seen a Sonic character with a mouth joint pretty much in my entire life. Usually when Vector's done, the mouth is mostly closed. Like, if you look at the GE plush all the way up there, they never have him with an open mouth in anything. I don't know about the Tomy plush because I don't actually own that one. It just didn't look good to me. Going from there, though, you do have two little holes for his nostrils, and then his eyebrows are, like, peaked up like little singing mountains. The only complaint I would have is, even though his eye colors are normally yellow, they're a sort of yellow that makes it a little bit hard to see on the white that's there. I don't know if it's the shadowing or the lighting, but it just kind of blends in a little bit too much. I really wish they made the eyes a little bit darker just to distinct them from the whites, but to be fair, this is more game accurate than if they had done that. From there, we have the headphones, which I always questioned about this. Does this mean that Vector has, like, little ears there? Are there like tiny little holes that crocodiles have for hearing? How do crocodiles hear? I never thought about that. Huh. Asking the real questions. I know Sonic doesn't wear his earbuds like on top of his little ears on his head. He wears them at the side. So like it doesn't matter, but it does make me wonder. The headphones are modeled really nicely though, having a sleek, shiny black bar going across. And then you have the earpieces, which have this gray cuff with a black hard plastic working as the pads being in there. Below there, you have his gold chain, which unfortunately is not just a nice shimmering gold just like the rings. But to be fair, Vector is poor. He is a detective. He might like money, but he can't afford the real gold. He's got to get that cheap, like, cheese, plasticky gold to be able to be like, yeah, this is my bling. It's made of cheddar cheese. Overall, though, it does look really good, and it is a little bit loose in the front, but I kind of like that feeling because it kind of gives him an in-motion type of feeling. And it seems like it's more so in the back that it's attached, which is interesting because there is a little bit of a line here, and I'm guessing they were trying to hide that line with the gold piece. I want to say the Jazzwares version of this actually has like a neck joint to it, which is kind of weird. And like I said, we'll look at that later. But it's nice to see that this doesn't have it, and they went with the mouth. Going to the other joints, the arms feel really good, and you do have some really solid elbow joints as well. The wrists seem to be like ball joints, which is pretty good. And the detail on his cufflinks, spot on as well. His shoes are very shiny, going along with the cufflinks and the headphones, which I actually really like that for Vector. They usually give him some kind of like matte paint, but him being shiny, it makes sense. He's constantly going in and out of water. Probably, I mean, he's a crocodile, so like, he's probably a great swimmer. I mean, Sonic and Mario Olympic Games. But yeah, overall, I really love the look of the shiny paint for him. Especially because it's in very specific spots. And then, of course, last but not least, you do have his orange scales, which actually feel pretty decent to, like, just roll down. And now that I think about it, this is the same color scheme as Yoshi. Vector is just the rapper version of Yoshi. What have I done? This is accurate. This is accurate. Ah! No! I hate it. I hate it. Okay, we need to move on before I lose my sanity, because that's horrible. Okay, so our next character is one of the Chaotix members that a lot of people might find annoying, which is SPL. No, I'm kidding. It's Charmy. Believe it or not, as a kid, Charmy was actually one of maybe my second or third favorite Sonic character, to the point where I actually dressed as him for Halloween. And the wild thing is, it was actually kind of a bad idea, because what my mom did to make the costume was she put a hoodie on me, and she got like black duct tape and just wrapped it around me. So by the time Halloween was done, like the duct tape was just like choking me, and I was like, oh my god, this is so hard to breathe in. It was so hard to get off. I don't remember how we got it off, but we didn't even have to like destroy the costume. I just remember that thing being like so hot and so uncomfortable. But yeah, a lot of people find him annoying because he's flying around. He's a very hyper bee. But he is a pretty decent character. You know, Shadow the Hedgehog, he's having you collect like CD discs for some reason. I can't remember the reason why. But the cool thing is, like, all the Chaotix, if you do it right, they actually have like a storyline that goes with Shadow the Hedgehog in the game. And in Sonic Heroes, if he is the only person on the team, he can do like a little sting move, which is one of the characters that's alone for flight that actually makes a lot of sense for their attack. Not only that, but inside of Sonic Heroes, Team Chaotix is set up as like a mission-based thing. So, for the Jakks specific version of this character, his accessory was actually the little flower inside of Sonic Heroes, and that was really cool. Honestly, that was one of the things that Jakks Pacific did really well, was like a lot of varying figures and accessories. But I feel like Jakks Pacific is definitely inching up on that, especially with all of the different character diversity. And the fact that we're getting Soul Emerald soon, and Blaze, and I hope I can find that, because if I can't, I'm going to be so sad. But anyway, though, we're talking about the Chaotix, and we're talking about Charmy, which we're going to open him. And I'm kind of glad he's a minifigure, just because he's going to take up a lot of space, and I don't even know what accessory they would have given him. Though it would have been absolutely amazing if they gave him the CD as his accessory, just tiny little CD disc. But anyway, it's time to look at the figure, and surprisingly, I actually figured that because he's a minifigure, that his wings might not have joints, and believe it or not, they do, and it looks like they are ball joints, maybe? Though, thankfully, they only move like this, so it's not, like, super awkward. I don't want to flap them too much, because even though bees would, like, flap super fast, if I do that for him, I'm afraid that I'm going to break it. And just like Vector, Charmy figures do not come easily. So I definitely do not want to break this guy. Looking at Charmy, there is a lot of details on him. You do have the yellow and black bee stripes with the little antennas. There's no way. There's no way. I don't think that's a joint, but it bends like there is a joint. I'm guessing that's supposed to be like the bendable figure, because they did originally start with, instead of like articulate figures, they started with bendable ones. I'm so glad they switched to the articulate ones, because the bendable ones are just so awkward and they feel so easily breakable. So really, really nice transition from those two figures. But I'm guessing that's what they used for this. Charmy also does have like a little communicator spot. Okay. Charmy also has this little helmet which is black with this red trim, and then he's got little pilot goggles. I don't think he ever uses them, though it would be really funny if there was a situation where Charmy got put in a mech, kind of like with Tails and Eggman from Sonic Adventure 2, and then anytime he shot, he just had his goggles down. What would his mech be like? I guess just like a bee walker version of Eggman's, except like the bullets would be like these little honey globs. Oh, that would be amazing. Interestingly enough, Charmy does also have these like honey yellow eyes, but his are a little bit darker, so they're easier to see they're easier to see than Vector's, which is funny because they are smaller. Another thing that he has similar to Vector are these little like black shoulder joints, which I'm not sure what those are supposed to be, if they're supposed to be like sleeves or something, but both those characters have them, and it's something that doesn't really go with Espio either. So I wonder if they were originally planning on having these two be connected, and then Espio, they made Espio and he just fit the bill for these two characters. Because these guys do have that sort of like makes sense sort of like father-son type dynamic, whereas Espio kind of is like just in the group, but it's like it's an awkward that works really nicely in my opinion. Charmy does also have this little honeybee jacket. Like, he's just a really big fan of Honey Nut Cheerios, so he decided to do some cosplay, especially with the shoes as well, being that same honey orange with a little bit of zipper. And then you got the soles on there, which those are actually flat. Are Vectors? Vectors are flat. That is something that, strangely enough, Jazzwares did do, where they put designs on the bottom. So overall, Charmy looks really nice. You've got his stinger, you've got his little black wristbands, and just a really nice figure of him. Coming from the shadows, we have Espio, who is from the wave with Sonic with a Spring, pretty much the easiest Sonic to find in stores, Tails with Invincibility Box, and the Egg Robo, which unfortunately I still have not gotten the Egg Robo, but it is one that I would absolutely love to get, because even though it's not my favorite Eggman robot, it is pretty iconic, and I ended up painting one of my other ones from Jazzwares, and I feel awful about it. So Espio himself comes with the checkpoints. We have seen this before. It's just one of those things where you like can hit it back and forth and it just goes like this. I'm really waiting for them to make one of these accessories where instead of it doing that, it has like a hole at the top and then it just has the little like sparkles for a special stage. I just think that would be really, really cool if they did that and they made it like half red and half yellow or something. I don't know. If you guys want to see that, make sure to say in the comments. I've been saying that a lot today. But yeah, they mostly do this so that if you wanted to get like the Green Hill Zone playset, you could put those on the playset and it would connect. But it is a shame that we didn't get anything that's very Espio-esque for his accessory. Either way though, it's time to open this guy. Wow, that came clean off. That might be the best box opening I've ever done. Oh my goodness. It's a good thing Espio is now one of my favorite characters, because if he was, I would definitely keep that box. Oh, come on! What is up with me taking characters' heads off today? Oh my... Fortunately, these are very simple joints that don't break too easily, so we should be able to pop his head back on. Oh no, or bend it a little bit. No, don't break it. I haven't, but I'm very concerned because this is tighter than most of them. Oh, thank God. Okay, the head went back on. That really needs to stop happening. It happened with another video that I recorded earlier today. This one's probably going to go up first. But I recorded the tornado for Sonic Movie 2, and Tails' head came off, and then his tails came off, and it's ridiculous. But again, thankfully, nothing broke, so we're good. Now, out of all the Chaotix, I think Espio does actually have the coolest design. He's not one of my favorite Sonic characters, but I will admit that he is definitely way cooler than Charmy, even if I do absolutely adore Charmy for, like, no reason. I think one of the things is just the fact that he also stands out from a lot of the other Sonic characters. I mean, sure, you do have the Shadow type of cool where he can teleport and cast control using Cast Spear, all that kind of stuff. You have Silver with the ESP, which he's pretty unique. But Espio is the only, like, super ninja stealthy type of character who can just go invisible, has an entire persona based on throwing ninja stars, and is genuinely able to help out with his ninja skills in a very unique type of way. It made for a lot of really great scenes in Sonic X when the Chaotix met the other team, and they had to sneak around the ship to try to, like, not be noticed, and Espio got paint splattered on him, and they just beat the crap out of him. It's just absolutely phenomenal power. And not only that, I've heard in one of the Sonic Rivals games, they paired him and Silver up together, which, man, I've really got to play those games, because I'm genuinely curious about some of those pairings in Rivals 2 and the interactions that all the characters have. Anyway, though, let's look at the figure himself. So the sculpt is really good, and it does seem like a bigger figure than what Espio was in Jazzwares. I apologize that I always go back to that, but Tomy didn't have a lot of these characters made, and Jazzwares did do a lot of the pulling from these more obscure characters, or at the time being used in stuff like Sonic X and other games. I guess at the time it was more so 2010, so they were a little more obscure at that point. Looking at Espio, one of the interesting traits that he has is that he has this little 3-spoke type of head, which is a similar thing that Metal Sonic has, so I guess Metal Sonic is like 2% Espio. And something that is a trend in all of the Chaotix, it looks like, is the yellow eyes, but much like Vector, his are lighter. I actually don't mind it on Espio, because the pink that is on him, the pinkish purple color, is kind of a darker sort of color, which makes that yellow pop a bit more. And it helps because the yellow horn is there, and that looks pretty good, as well as not being too sharp, which, good on you guys. Going at the back, you do have these little spines here, and those are a little bit sharp, so that's kind of iffy. But they do look pretty good, they're proportioned right, they're the right amount. And one of the cool things that I've never really seen on one of these figures is how they did the tail. They curled it up, and instead of having it be like this clumped up tail that's just one solid object, they actually swirled it all the way around and made a tiny little swirl tip at the very end. That is absolutely cool. And Espio is one of those characters, again, who doesn't get a lot of merchandise. But they really went out of the park with this figure, even though the joint quality is a bit shaky here. Other than that, you do have his little tape gauntlets, which do kind of look like Sonic Boom style of gloves. And I could actually see him using them like web slingers in the future to swing onto things. Whether Sega would do this, I don't know. But hey, maybe if they're just like, you know what, it's finally time we make an Espio game. I don't know. They made a Knuckles spin-off game, they made a Shadow spin-off game. It sounds like they might be wanting to look into the avenue of making other characters' games, and they trademarked like Sonic and Friends, so it is very possible that we might get something like that. And man, I would love that if we got more Sonic character spin-offs. But again, I need to get back on topic. These gloves do look really nice with the wrapping around them. You've got the little Bowser Jr. spokes. And then you also have the 3 lines in there and the purple little emblem on there. The shoes also do match the wristbands, and you have a darker purple with that nice like maroon pink or whatever you want to call it. It just looks very nice. So overall, that is all the Chaotix. I'm just going to really quickly show you guys all these characters, and I think, is Vector going to be big enough to where I can actually just like have them chill on his arm? Because that would be, oh, that would be so nice. Oh, that would be so nice for a thumbnail if I can actually get this to work. Charmy is going to be a bit tricky though, potentially. Oh my god, is this actually going to work? Oh, it actually works. Oh, that's adorable. Oh, that's absolutely adorable. I just have to be very careful to make sure that Espio does not fall. There they go. Okay, well, hopefully I was able to get a good picture there. If not, I apologize for the thumbnail for editing spins. But you know what? I tried. But before we go, I did promise that we would look at the Jazzwares figures. Some of the accessories that did come with these guys. Now, this flower did have a really hard time standing. You have to have it like close like this just to get a chance for it to stand. So that in and of itself isn't too great, but it was always a really cool thing that they added this. I just wish that they had it upright because it would have fit the game better, and it would have also made it be to where it would stand a lot better too. The joints are a little flimsy though. It seems like there's like a little twist here, and then you have opening and closing. And then for Vector, you actually have the walkie-talkie from Sonic Heroes, which was around like Sonic Generations, so they were really big on making sure that they had like accessories for all the characters, which was super neat. Alright, so, as promised, I'm going to really quickly show off the Jazzware figure, which you'll be able to see a lot of what I was talking about before. Coloring's a little bit off on this. It is an older figure though, and you do have like more awkward, stiffer joints. The legs are put really weird, and overall Vector just looks really, really stiff. So comparatively, not only in size, but just as a figure, Jakks Pacific did so much better with this. It looks so much cleaner. And by the way, that's just one of the poses you could do with him for the Jakks Pacific. And like Vector with his mouth closed, he never has mouth closed, so it looks kind of awkward on a figure. From there, let's look at Charmy. Now, Charmy has some good points and some negative points here, as this is the mini version, so there are a little bit more details and there are a little bit more things coming towards the Jakks Pacific version. So one big thing is that you actually have some transparent wings on the Jakks Pacific version, and there's just a lot more detail that comes through. Like the sculpting on the eyes and the mouth are a little bit cleaner on this one, but I feel like the shoes don't look nearly as nice, and the yellow is very like mustard and muddy, whereas this one, it does look pretty good on it. So overall, again, another decent point for them. Also, like I was saying before, you do have the soles, but you're never going to see that, so I never understood why they modeled that. Also, surprisingly, Vector, I thought Vector did have soles on his, but he actually does not. So that's interesting. Now, out of all of these, I think that Espio's Jazzware one is probably the best. It has a lot of really good sculpt. The figure is pretty decent, and believe it or not, I think this was one of the earliest figures that they did inside of Jazzwares, which is a little strange, but it was early enough to where they had this like transparent purple Espio, which was odd but kind of neat. So, looking at him compared to the Jakks Pacific one, I mean, I still think the Jakks Pacific one has more of an edge. However, there are a lot of points that I will give to the Jazzwares ones. I will knock it off a few points, though, just for the fact that the arms are so long for absolutely no reason, which makes the proportion a little awkward. And I do understand why they have the tail like this, but it is still really cool that Jakks Pacific was able to find a way to do that. So yeah, overall, that is the comparison of all of the figures for the Chaotix that I have. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, share us out with everyone love, brother, mother, sister, father, iguana, and let me know who is your favorite character inside of the Chaotix, and who's your favorite team inside of Sonic Heroes. For me, I mean, I do really like Team Dark. I'm not gonna lie, like Rouge has become one of my favorite characters. Omega's just cool, and he's very close to Gamma. And then Shadow just overall is neat. I was thinking of saying Team Sonic though, because I do absolutely love Sonic as a character. He's my favorite Sonic character, as you guys probably know. So, you know. But anyway though, before I ramble on for like 20 more minutes, I'm gonna end the video. So, I hope to see you guys in the next one. And it's time to move out! Team Chaotix! Rah! Yeah, I only grabbed Vector. Why I raised his hand, I don't know. Here on the Genspins channel, we ask these questions, and we get no answers. God, I'm so awkward.